Call me, hey, listen, how do I prune these things? Why are they not blooming? Well, you know, azaleas are an unusual plant, but they set their flowers immediately after they bloom.
Okay.
So if you come in and prune back, you know, you're going to cut all the flower buds off.
Okay.
So you're going to remember, when that last flower hits the ground, it's time to get out your pruners, and it's time to get out your fertilizer.
Okay.
Because azalea, that's the only way that you're going to affect the bud count for next year. If you fertilize long after that, all you're going to have is vegetative growth. And then you're going to be wanting to prune them. So fertilize after they're blooming. So some of the things you got to remember when you prune an azalea, or prune any shrub, in fact, you want to make sure it looks like this.
This is our guideline?
Right, exactly. This is our guideline. That's my artistic work right there.
I was wondering about that. I like how you made it green.
Yes, that's good. But when the sun comes down on the azalea, it's going to hit all these edges like this. And this is the best way. And you're going to have that azalea is just full of flowers. But if you do this, what's going to happen, you know, the mostly lawn man just cuts the top, it starts spreading out, and then these start losing their leaves right here, the sides. But you need to make sure that this stays round, because when the sun comes down like this, it's getting shaded out. So no leaves right there. So this is what you want to do. If the azaleas have gotten, let's say this azalea is now 12 foot tall, you can reduce these azaleas during the middle of winter to around 24 inches.
Okay.
You know, but it has to be done in the middle of the winter.
So you missed it, basically.
Yes, so you missed it. But make sure that you prune right now and keeping the size good. You can see that this azalea, this is Autumn Debutante. It's an encore azalea. Now this is one of the great things about this azalea. It blooms twice.
Oh, wow.
But Autumn Debutante is not a good one for our climate zone. So you want to pass on that one. You want to go on maybe Autumn Embers or Pink Carnation. But you can see how this one's gotten leggy and thin, and it has that shape.
It has this shape.
Yeah, exactly.
The bad shape.
So when this azalea has been pruned properly. It's full. What you want to do is have this look here. When you look at these azaleas, see how many breaks there is like that?
10 little forks.
Right, exactly. So when you prune that, it's going to stimulate that. Now, what to do during the summer when it's getting so big or they're growing, once you establish this line here on this pattern here, once this line's established, you can prune above that, but never go back into the plant, because it's going to damage the flowers. You're going to remove all the flowers, so you spend all that time, you're not going to have any flowers. Some of the other things you want to do on azaleas, when you fertilize them, you want to put some slow release. You can get this at Ace Hardware.
Okay.
It's a great product, and all these azaleas are on sale right now. This 14-14 slow release. They like a little bit of slow release. You know, a large azalea needs about 4 or 5 cups. And then you can use azalea or acid fertilizer. That's only if you have basic soil. So what you want to do is test the soil first. You don't want to make it more acidic than it needs to be. Use sharp pruners, you know, like this. You know, you can, or use your, and trim just like that, kind of like that. Make sure they're really sharp so they don't break the branches. Lifetime guarantee at Ace on any pruner.
I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
How cool is that?
So you can also make sure when you're out there working is they get a good amount of mulch. Another mistake people do is they let the leaves, because they're often under plants. Just went to a project. When the leaves came down, they were filled the plant up to this much.
Oh, no.
There were around 6 inches of leaves. Everything else was wet, but under there it's completely dry, because how much water has to fall to make that azalea wet?
So you're starving your azalea.
You're starving them of water, and they were all dying one after another.
Well, thank you, Larry, because I come from a long line of unruly azaleas in my family.
Right, I know.
I know. For more information about gardening, or if you'd like Larry to do your land